welcome back to ReZero Anime Review, episode number 30. Yeah, who would have thought basically a series like this one would reach this far for an interview series? 30 episodes. Well, the series Is It Wrong to Grow Legend? That one's getting pretty close. Well, it's about 8 episodes away, provided the fact they have another season for the show, which I hope they do. Now, in the case of this episode for ReZero, this is I'm talking about the 42nd episode of the anime, A Journey Through Memories. This one adapts the first 2 chapters of book 14. Yes, a book that is 277 pages. Yeah, pretty lengthy. The episode starts off pretty much where exactly last week we left off, where you see Emilia with Ekena. Yep, where the whole episode is basically told from their perspective. Subaru is briefly seen in the episode for about, a few minutes. With him, Otto, Garfield, the Reza clones, and of course Rem. Well, Ram, anyways. Where he's like embarrassed about writing about his, he's kind of embarrassed about him confessing his love for her. And of course Garfield and Otto basically try to cheer him up. And then of course the segment ends basically with Subaru going to talk with Rezu. And that's what that segment ends. It's only about 5 minutes. My only guess is they put this in. I think because it's actually in the book, it's been a little while since I've read the actual book itself. So they probably put it in because he's the main character. Throw him in here. Don't have to have the whole episode, basically, like the entire episode set in Emilia's memories. Oh, and here's the interesting thing about this episode. This is the longest episode since the pilot. This episode's 29 and a half minutes. Like, damn. This is longer than the previous episodes, which tend to be about 24 to about 28 minutes. This one is almost exact. It could be, you could say this episode almost 30 minutes. Yes, it is quite lengthy to say the least. Yep, we see Ekena and Emilia basically walk up to the princess room. It's a room that Emilia had when she was a child, which I believe this was a room that she had from the story Frozen Bond. So this is technically the return to that. Puck does briefly appear in the episode, where the episode starts out with him before we get to Ekena and, of course, Emilia. It's probably when Emilia first met Puck right after she got out of the ice, because it seems like it's a very similar style thing for Frozen Bond, but then we flash back to when she was a child. Yep, and then we see, apparently we see Mother Farina, who she says is actually her father or sister. Though it's kind of confusion exactly about her parents per se, because they say, "Oh yeah, you mean your brother and sister?" So does that kind of mean that she's a child of incest? But it's never fully dealt upon in this episode. So basically, you have her sneaking out of her room via these fairies, actually lesser spirits, if you look toward the end of the episode, where sneaks out and sees Mother Farina interact with Portugos, the future Archbishop of Sloth. Though this is a younger version of him. And I kind of expect to see him, I am not that surprised to see him in this episode, purely because he's actually in the actual book, in the flashback stuff, so I wouldn't be surprised when the dub gets to this episode that Todd Heppercorn reprised his role as his character. Because I think he had a good time playing the character, except one thing I didn't like about the character was his constant biting his own fingers. I'm like, what the heck was this? Aside from that, I think Heppercorn had a fun time playing the character, except the only aspect I didn't like about him was biting his own fingers. But look up, this younger version doesn't have that because he's not the Archbishop of Sloth yet. I'll get to the Archbishops because one shows up at the end of this episode. One who did not make an appearance since the pilot episode, since the first episode of this season. We'll get to that. So basically, kind of do a montage. Basically, Emilia sneaking out and of course seeing these two. And they chat for a while about a seal, and they ask what Emilia is doing. And of course, Emily's clothes. And apparently, it looks like, but based on their outfits, it looks like they could be from the witch's cult, but they're not stated to be part of the witch's cult. Well, not based upon their attire. No, it could be they're from some. Portuguese is the way it's implied here is that she's Frodo's childhood friend, and the fact that he's probably from some noble family or probably from some local army. basically based on the way he dresses. So eventually, Amelia is like, okay, what's a seal? We do find out what the seal of this episode is. A giant door. What the heck is actually beyond this door? I don't know, because it's been a while since I read the book. So she tries opening it, but the door is locked. So he just walks away, runs into a ghost. That's basically what he's called in the flashback, not Portugal. Where he's crying because he's happy to see her. Like, says her salvation. Of course, then they play for a while, which that was so hilarious. And of course, Ken and Amelia basically watch all this. They chat for a while, which I do appreciate the conversation. And they talk briefly about Subaru, which leads to the outside stuff with Subaru. And playing chase, and then of course, Subaru's like, come here. And of course, then she catches her. And then of course, they kind of like, someone's coming. Who comes up? Why, it's the Archbishop Greed, of course. Yep. Regulus Centauros, I think that's how you pronounce his last name. Yeah, making his first appearance is the first episode of the season. Though technically this is before he encountered Rem. Wow. And is it just me, or is he's wearing the same exact outfit he's wearing present day? I mean, I get Portuguese, but at least he looked like he changed. Not the case the Archbishop Greed. He looks spot on the same. I'm like, okay, I get the fact that it's a flashback, but he at least look a little different, like maybe a little bit younger, but nope. He's, like, I'm not sure what his deal is. Like, oh yeah, by the power representing, like, my power and authority from the witches cult representing representing greed, I am Regulus Centauros. Which, I like the way that, even though it's Japanese, I like the way he sort of, like, he didn't do the whole hand thing like I did, but he had a sort of a grandiose way of basically introducing himself. But that was a shocking cliffhanger. And I'm sure that Ken was like, Archbishop, Subaru mentioned those guys to me too. And Amelia was like, what? Subaru's talked to you? Subaru's talked to you about the Archbishops? Yeah. I would not be surprised if Amelia mentions the fact that she knew the Archbishop Sloth before he became the Archbishop Sloth, because for one thing, at least Ghost looked like he's actually younger. He looks different. Yeah, he may wear the same exact attire, but at least his face looks different. I mean, present day, his skin is green, and he basically looks like he's aged. While here, he's much younger. Yeah. But this episode, really good. Also, basically, before the Archbishop Greed shows up, he reveals that Amelia's fairy she's been talking to, is actually lesser spirits, and that Amelia is his natural spirit user, which that part is true. Basically, planting seeds, basically seen present day, which, good for flashback to do that. But the ending with the Archbishop Greed showing up, that's interesting. I don't remember if he's here just to recruit Portuguese to join the Witches Cult. It looks like he was part of the group. It looks like, though, he joined the group after the Archbishop Greed did. Which should be interesting to discuss when we talk next week. Now, I should point out that this book is only 7 chapters. One thing I'm really hoping, though, is that they don't that the episode adapted to 15 does not necessarily come out the same week as the episodes start adapting it, because these episodes tend to do like about 4 episodes just to cover one book. So it would not be surprising, though, if they wrap up this particular adaptation of this book with either 45 or even 46 per se. Because I looked up basically the release date for the book, and it's going to be the 23rd of next month. Which is basically the last Tuesday of the month. And it'd be shocking, though, if in fact that 23, which is probably when 46 is 24 episode will get released. Like, if somehow that's going to be the day that they start adapting basically book 15, that'd be surprising. I'm going to try to at least get the book partially done by the time I basically start watching the actual episode itself. Yeah, I'm hoping so. When the book comes out, of course. Mm-hmm. Yep. But this episode, really good. Definitely looking forward to next week's episode. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's it for this particular review. I still got 7 other reviews today. I was going to watch 7 Deadly Sins right now, because I forgot to watch it yesterday. Yeah, it got so late last night, I just did not get a chance to watch the stuff last night. That's the reason I'm watching it right now. Yep, so expect to see today reviews for Seven Deadly Sins, if you were sure that 2 days ago. Dr. Stone, Yoshima Half-Day Princess, Fire Force. Yes, there is a new episode released today for it. Thank you. It took about a freaking time to do it. And Quintessence Quintuplets. We have like 5 more shows to discuss today. Yep. But until the next video, probably won't be for a few more hours, okay? Bye.